Hey, welcome back to my channel. I look really odd with my new glasses. Today is the first day for me to wear them. Today, I want to have a chat with you guys about art and startup. Artists in the startup world or startup companies in the creative industry, however you want to call it. I want to talk about this because yesterday I went to the South Summit. So South Summit is a startup fair, probably the biggest in Southern Europe. A startup fair is like an art fair, but with startup entrepreneurs, where they network, exchange information, pitch, and make businesses, which is like an art fair, but with startup people. And yesterday I went across the door just minutes before they closed. I didn't have enough time to have an in-depth discussion with people. So right now I'm ordering an Uber to go there so I can show you what's going on in the fair. And yesterday I had a beer with some friends and my friend's friends. Someone suddenly asked me a soul-searching question, which led to this video. He said, "So what is your startup?" And I was like, I don't have a startup. And he was like, okay, so what do you do? I'm like, I help artists make a living from art, which is like an incubator, accelerator for artists. And he was like, okay, so you have a startup. And I was like, okay, tell me, what qualifies a startup? What is a startup? Like if you have to define one key characteristic or quality of a startup, what it is. Because over the years, since my MBA, actually that's my diploma over there, since 2017, I've been going to the South Summit, I've been talking to the startup people, and every time when I pitch my startup idea, they will be like, okay, that's a good idea, but that's not really a startup. So I've been quite frustrated trying to get recognized, trying to get my message across to the startup people, but I feel a lot of hurdles, frustration, and I want to really understand what they see a startup, how they see what is in their eyes. So when I present my projects, or when you as an artist present your art startup, may it be an online gallery or a POD business or whatever business it is, you can present it a little more stereotyped to the entrepreneurs, to the investors, so they could recognize your value to get your idea quicker and easier, so you don't have to waste a lot of time trying to struggle to get the recognition you want. That's why, I inspired me to make this video. Let's put on the shoes and get going to the South Summit. Let's go. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Oh, the driver is so lost. Come on, you can do it. It's here, I'm here, I'm here, you can do it. You see, that's the famous Bernabeu Stadium, the most famous football stadium in Madrid. And the taxi driver told me that they're putting rooftop for the stadium. Today is a Friday, a lot of traffic. It's 36 degrees outside, super hot. It's so slow. When are we getting there? The whole trip took almost an hour and we are finally there. Wow, hot. Brazil, Portugal. I like the logo. Look at this, Startup Portugal, smart logo. Repsol, Valencia, Abanca, Naturgy, Caixa, Google, AstraZeneca, Sabadell, BBVA, Madrid, Italian Tech Alliance. Guess what it is? It's a fintech. Okay, seems like there is a tangible product, finally not a fintech. Endless shower. Okay, so 6 liters of water, they will just shower endlessly, recycling the water. Okay, this is not bad. Of course, IE University, that's the university of the business school I went in 2017. I think this is the most interesting thing in this fair. It's basically a drone, a smart drone kind of thing. Building ecosystem. I think this is the slogan of this year's South Summit. I wonder why they don't really make systems with plural. This is the 10th edition of the South Summit. Hey, I just got here and it's already late again because I had this 1 hour epic traffic jam. The venue is closed itself, but you can hear the music, there's after party. I had a quick peek inside and talked to some people around the venue. And with the information I had yesterday, I think I have enough points that I've gathered to talk about how to pitch your startup projects as an artist in the business world. Basically, my idea is to understand what is a typical startup in the business world so you can kind of get close to one of those ideas so you have an easy way in to kind of present your ideas similar to one of these classic startups. Maybe you disagree with me, you think it's not a good idea, let me know in the comment below. I have gathered 4 qualifying factors or 4 typical qualities of a startup company. If you can fit into one of them, it makes your life way easier in front of a startup business person or entrepreneur or investor. This video is brought to you by our Patreon page and our lovely patrons. I want to give a big shout out. Thank you very much for your support so that we could create original content like this one and original articles on our website. So thank you very much for your support. So let's go to the 4 qualifying factors of what is a typical startup. Number 1, technological advancement or technological innovation. It's a lot harder for an artist to become a tech person and innovate. You use Wacom, you use Procreate, but those programs had been invented by someone else. If you want to invent something on top, it requires a lot of knowledge, dedication, practice. Is like a job of another person. It's a job of a tech person, but it's not impossible, such as, let's say, Airbnb. Airbnb completely reinvented the hotel industry. Although they did not have a single hotel room, they used an app and a very, very fresh idea of staying in someone's couch for a few nights when you're traveling to a foreign country. This whole idea is new and the implementation had some tech elements, so they can call themselves a very successful international startup. Number 2, scalability. Now, this has been told to me for hundreds of times by my business school professors or by other startup people. They always asked me, what's your scalability? How fast you can scale? Now, it is super important in the business world, but in the art world, it's not really talked about. Like, for example, scale in terms of team. Maybe right now you have just assistant and use a 2-person team, and in 10 years, you still have the same 2-person team, and you're happy about it. Like, you don't need to grow. But for a startup entrepreneur, they look at your size and they'll be like, hey, you failed because you haven't scaled up. And also in terms of production, like you want to keep the quality, you don't want to scale like crazy, selling tens of thousands of copies. You want to keep it to a limited edition original works of art with high quality, with attention to detail. But then it also hinders your scalability. Size doesn't matter, it's true, but the projection and the ability to scale up as an option is very important in the startup world. So you have to think about that, maybe using print-on-demand, POD, as a business model to convince others that you have the technical ability to scale. Scale, technical things are like kind of hand in hand because you usually need a piece of tech to scale, and the tech is usually aimed at scaling. Number 3, I would say startup is a stage of any company. This is my personal opinion. I think as a new company, no matter big or small, the first 3 to 5 years you can call yourself a startup. It's like a young person, adolescent, is a minor, so it's just like stage. And after years, you grow up. No matter if you grow up tall or like big or not, but you grow up. As an artist, the first 3 to 5 years, likely you're just laying down the foundation. You're not really growing a lot. You're not making a full income. It's totally common, normal, and you don't need to worry about it. Just take your time, take all the time you need to lay the foundations. But then when you launch your startup, then people say, how long have you been doing this? And you'll be like, 10 years. And then they will be like, then you're not a really startup because you have been here for a long time. Okay, yeah, so it's very hard for artists, like an artist studio with artist name, after 10 years of working in art, to still call himself a startup because you have been here for a long time. Last but not the least, seeking funding. Most of the startups, like in the South Summit, in the startup fairs, they're looking for fundings. Because if you're not looking for fundings, then why would you be participating in the pitches? Like, why are you on stage telling about your project? It's almost like going to a job fair. If you don't want a job, the employer would say, why are you here? What are you doing here? Why are you wasting my time if you don't want a job, right? So this is a typical thing that maybe an art project or art startup, you're just thinking about presenting as a way to raise awareness, to get exposure. But for the business people, their time is also precious, like yours, and they want to use their time to make money, to make investment. And if you say, I'm bootstrapping, I'm not looking for funding, then they'll be like, what are you doing here? Get off the stage next. Right? So you need to be willing, be open to receive investments, to dilute your shares, to, let's say, sell your company, to give up a part of your baby, that creation that you created, to others, to investors, to other companies, so that you can grow. If you're not willing, then I would say you would be defeating the whole purpose of presenting your company, your project as a startup. I'm not saying that bootstrapping is not a startup. It is, but you don't need to present yourself like that. Going through all the hurdles, spending all the time writing pitches, practicing, doing it. Like, you don't need to. It's not necessary because you don't need anything from them. So why asking? You just focus on what you're doing and to spend your time elsewhere to grow your business. So this is pretty much why I haven't been very active in the startup world. I'm interested in meeting them, talking to them about the business environment and the technology and all this, what is going on is very interesting for me personally. But I haven't been going to the fairs or pitching my own project. And when people ask me, do you have a startup? My first reaction is no. It's an art project. It's not a startup because all of these reasons. I'm not willing to dilute. At this point, I'm not willing to scale up crazy, and I'm taking my time to use it as some sort of a artisanal project and use my time to shape it in a way that is close to perfect. I have to admit that I'm a perfectionist, and scaling or business or money for me at this very point is not that important. So I'm not discouraging you from presenting your project, from starting your own art business. But I'm trying to make a point is that if you don't need to ask others to join you, you can totally forget about the putting yourself in the boxes and fitting into the business world, in the startup world. You just do whatever you do and keep doing it in a smart way, in an efficient way, and that's enough. Like, you don't need that extra label, that badge that qualifies you. All right, so I don't even know what I want to say anymore. So thank you very much for your patience with me. And it's super hot right now. It's 30 something degrees, I don't know. So I'll head back home. So thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next video.